All right, so this is the time narrative still life that we're going to be starting out for drawing two. So much like how we started on drawing one, we're really looking at using value to help us define form. And I didn't want to have us do another traditional still life. I wanted to give you guys some creative problem solving, I guess, and a way to make this more interesting to you, hopefully, and interesting to the viewer. But we still want to have the central theme of value. So if you remember from drawing one, lighter things tend to come forward in space and darker things tend to push back into space. So if you're working with um, traditional graphite, as you see here, the darker edges, so if you'll see the edge of the finger that's darker, comes lighter and then gets darker again, like a traditional cylinder. That's usually how our brain reads three-dimensional forms on a two-dimensional piece of paper, is through that process. We're still working with that. I want us to still think about that and do some type of still life where we have to render things three-dimensionally in space, but I don't want to stick you with another still life like we did in drawing one. You are going to have to think about, we'll get back to the objectives, but you're going to have to think about how are you going to show time? That is your objective for this. So that's the theme. How are we going to draw time? And that's an abstract thought to have, but I want you to kind of use this class maybe more in a creative way than you did drawing one. So here's where we'll start. It says there are many ways to depict time, from the literal to the symbolic. The rules. You're gonna have four, at least four. Now you may want to go up to five just to work with the rules of odd for composition. But I want you to have a close-up intimate cropping, and I'll show you the examples we just went by. That's close cropping, meaning you don't have to show the entire object. You can have some of it hanging off the edge of the paper. So I want us to be, as the viewer, really close up into the objects that you select. The objects should be composed in a thoughtful manner, and I'll be giving you guys a short composition slideshow just to review some of the things you may have learned in intro to art, or if you took painting one, watercolor one, drawing one. A lot of the same ideas are in there, but I do want to review it. You should have a full value scale, but we are going to be working with pastels. So you have to have a full value scale with either oil pastels or chalk pastels. I'm going to leave that completely up to you what you decide. You get to choose what type of pastel you have. The objects can be from home, they can be from school, they can be on your phone. But I want you to work with actual objects so that we're not just guessing what something looks like, we're actually looking and seeing what something looks like and then rendering it on our papers. You're going to have to be able to justify why you chose those objects and how they connect. And again, how do they connect with the theme of how do you show time? And then we'll also be doing artist statement as well as in-person critiques. So what does that mean to actually show time? And there's many ways to look at this. The way that some people choose to show the history or a moment in time. So here's an example of someone who consumes some type of like fast food meal, right? You got the beverage, the fry container is empty, the bag is kind of crumpled. It shows that it's been consumed. Same with this type of Chinese takeout, right? Everything, so the sauce is gone, the bag is crumpled, not a lot of food in there. Fortune cookie's been broken. It shows a process of that something's been done. This again, slightly different, still showing a moment of time, but the entire drawing tells us a story of an event that happened. So you can see the pickle jar smashed. You can see the glass. The pickles are on the floor. There's looks like some type of paper towel, maybe trying to clean it up. But then we also see a open Band-Aid package over here. So it's showing that, glass fell. We try to pick it up, clean it up. Oop, got cut, right? It shows an event, a moment of time. And that's what we're kind of trying to achieve. Another way that students tend to look at this is to show how do I spend my time in my free time, that is, like how do I spend the time that I have um, on what do I enjoy? So this person enjoys using alcohol markers. They have some type of stuffy they must enjoy or a sketchbook down here, right? They're showing the items that they use for time. These are some examples from classes I had in the past. So Lauren went to the movies, and so as you can see, a crumpled can, must have been a 3D movie, some popcorn she ordered with an admission ticket. This student, Byron, showed time by, this was his after school snack that he did. So he'd come home, slice some kind of charcuterie board, kind of just got some cheese, some type of sliced meat. This is a yogurt container. And you'll notice these are both very closely cropped, meaning that we are very close to these objects. Not all of the items are actually on the sheet of paper. They're kind of hanging off. Michaela, she does, what did she do? I think she was in cheer maybe. And then her after school snack was, oh shoot, those miniature corn dogs with some ketchup, and she had some Celsius. Avery was a big gamer and designer. I believe they went to school for graphic design. So this is them working at night with a Mountain Dew can. You see the glow of the computer, so they were working with the light of it kind of glowing. She was a ballerina, so a lot of her free time she was working with practicing ballet, and so these are the different tools of her craft. Showing just again, what are we doing after school? Got the sun chips, watch some Netflix, playing with her cat. And you can notice the close cropping on these. Nice perspective on the soda can for this one. Similar ideas here of how do you spend time? Really nice close cropping, gamer, PlayStation, showing time, right? So if we go back up to that close cropping, what does that actually mean? I want you to have everything nice and tight. You don't want to be too far away. So you can see we're really close to this little rubber duck. Some are hanging off. It's a Dunkin' Donuts, showing that it's kind of has the cup, and then you can see the some of these tiny little army guys are on there, as well as this. So you want it to be nice and closely cropped. All right, so this will be kind of like your graphic organizer in how to start thinking about these time narrative still lives. What the purpose of this is I was trying to think of a way to help you organize like these abstract thoughts of drawing time. And so I kind of came up with these different columns for you to start thinking about. And this is by no means that you have to follow these. This is just me trying to think of a way that could help you. So I first thought, well, one way to show time would be through consumables. So similar to like those fast food meals that I showed you, those all show time. So anything that you can consume, you could argue would show time. Another way to show time would be through entertainment. And you could think of different ways of passing time if it's watching a movie or maybe you were into watching basketball. Those would show passes of time. Or there's a whole, I mean, the majority of everything else would probably fit underneath this other. And I don't mean this being an exhaustive list, meaning that you have to like fill all of this out. This is only here to kind of help you start planning and thinking what could those be. And as you're thinking about it, you also be thinking about, can I draw that or can I represent that visually in some way? Once you have a list that works for you, I want you to start taking 4 of those objects you've listed and combine them to tell a story. So maybe I take 2 from consumables and 2 from other, or maybe 1 from consumables, 1 from entertainment, and 2 from other. And you're going to try to fit them into an idea, into that the narrative, that still life that you're trying to make. So my examples here. So if I took a video game controller and headset from the entertainment column, I can combine it with a consumable column of bag of chips and pop can. That would be like 4 objects showing like a Friday night playing video games, which would be the way that I would pass time. That could be my idea number 1. And so you fill these different ideas out, and then you come down here and sketch out 2 different compositions. So let's just say I like that video game idea. You can come down here and think about, how do I best represent those 2 different ideas? So do I want it to be more for like, maybe I have half of the pop can hanging off the edge here, and the video game controller is kind of big in the foreground, and maybe like there's a couple like crumbs of chips or something over here. And then down here, maybe I rearrange my composition and try something else. Both of these should be close cropped. I call it zoomed in up there, to fulfill that other requirement. This is just planning right now, and you kind of practicing trying to be able to draw, get a feel for how easy, difficult this is going to be to draw. Once you get all that, make sure you get that turned in. We are going to be doing some in-person critiques on these. If you have questions, as always, please be sure to reach out and let me know. Thank you.